He walked through corridors of cold and light, through days so heavy that even his breath felt like a burden. In this story, Dostoevsky tells you what life taught him. What he's about to share is not an account of his life as the world knows it. This is the map of his inner terrain, the places where hope and despair met, wrestled and forged something deep. So, if you want to witness Dostoevsky's transformative journey, calm your mind and listen from your core. Before we begin, consider subscribing for more deep first-person stories with timeless lessons from history's greatest legends. Now, presenting Fyodor Dostoevsky's confessional story. My earliest memories are wrapped in dim light, a small room, the smell of linen warmed by my mother's hands. Her voice was soft, as if spoken through water. She was often ill, and the sound of her coughing became the clock by which our days moved. My father was present, yet distant. His steps in the next room felt heavier than they should have, as if each carried its own verdict. I longed for his gaze to rest on me in recognition, yet feared it when it came. It was here, in these rooms, where love and fragility shared the same space, that I learned my first truth. Tenderness is never free of shadow. The heart learns to cherish with one hand and to guard with the other. Books became my refuge. They were windows into other hearts, places where grief had names and joy had reasons. In their pages, I sensed the possibility that my own confusion could be understood. Youth brought no peace. I believed in God, yet the world's cruelty whispered that perhaps there was no order at all. Then came the illness. Fever gripped me until my body was nothing but tremor and heat. In the haze, I drifted between waking and a strange shimmering elsewhere, where voices I did not know spoke to me as if I belonged to them. When I recovered, colors felt sharper, sounds more alive. I had been close enough to death to feel its breath. That nearness bound me more tightly to life, but left me wary, as though every joy was a glass on the verge of falling. Faith, I learned, was not comfort. It was a rope you clung to when the dark gave you nothing else. Poverty was not an abstraction. It was the taste of bread counted in mouthfuls, the damp chill of rooms where the air never fully warmed. It was debts that grew in the night. Each morning began with the same question: what can I sell, and what must I keep to stay alive? There was shame in every exchange, yet a strange intimacy with truth. Hunger strips you bare. It shows you what is essential and what is nothing more than decoration. I wrote by flickering light, my fingers stained with ink and trembling from the cold. Every sentence came from a place where pretending was impossible. The page was the one place I could speak without disguise. In those hours, I made a quiet vow. If I survived, my words would not be wasted. They would speak for those who had been silenced, not by choice, but by the cruelty of circumstance. The snow that morning was cruel in its brightness. We were led outside in silence, the cold clinging to our skin like an extra layer of punishment. The stakes were already in the ground, the rifles already loaded. I thought of my mother's hands, of the unfinished stories waiting in a drawer I would never see again. The order came, the rifles rose, and time slowed into an unbearable stillness. I closed my eyes, ready to dissolve into the void. Then, a voice, a command. The rifles lowered. My life was returned to me, but it was no longer the same life. Every hour afterward was borrowed time. I carried the knowledge that any day could be the last. That knowledge came with me to Siberia. The cold there was not just weather, it was a sentence that seeped into the bones. The barracks smelled of damp wool, smoke, and unwashed bodies. Men spoke little. Some laughed too loudly. Others stared into nothing. The Bible was my only book. I read it until the words became as familiar as my own heartbeat. They did not comfort so much as confirm the truth of our shared suffering. At times, I read aloud on nights when the wind clawed at the walls. Even those who mocked me listened, if only to hear another human voice. I witnessed madness bloom. Yet I also saw mercy, fierce, quiet mercies, like a man breaking his bread in half and pressing the larger piece into my hand without a word. That moment became my gospel. When I left Siberia, I no longer believed in simple divisions of good and evil. I believed only in the fragile kindness we can give each other in the storm. The seizures came without warning. Sometimes they gave me moments of piercing brightness, seconds before the fall, when the world seemed unbearably vivid, and a profound joy surged through me, as if I had glimpsed some eternal truth. Then came the darkness, swift and total. I began to suspect that suffering could open hidden doors, revealing truths we would otherwise never touch. There were nights I felt another presence, my double, moving just beyond sight. He carried everything I could not admit: pride, envy, fear of failure. Suffering forced me to meet him, to acknowledge the fracture within my own soul. This confrontation made me more honest on the page. Writing was no longer a craft, it was confession. My characters bore my guilt, my doubts, my moments of mercy. They sinned and repented, failed and tried again. Through them, I bared myself. The shame I could not face in life, I could face in words. In my later years, I spent more time in stillness. My greatest fear had always been the void, the possibility that life was meaningless. I came to see that this fear was not weakness, but a sign of the soul's hunger for truth. I realized I had never written to be understood by others, but to understand myself. Each confession shaped me. Each page brought me closer to wholeness. Near the end, I saw clearly. Suffering shapes the soul, but compassion redeems it. The wounds we carry are not proof of our ruin. They are proof we have truly lived. You've reached the final reflection. I leave you not with a doctrine, but with a witness. A soul can survive the fire and still find beauty. The answer is simple. Meet suffering with honesty. Confess what is true. Extend mercy when you can. Write your truth into the world in whatever form you can, and let it shape you. In that act, the soul becomes something it could never be without the chisel of suffering.